I think as soon as you try to tease apart different situations and say that matters of ethics may not apply to all of them, which is, I believe, is what you're saying, whether or not you're aware of it, to say that these extreme examples of situations that likely neither you or I will ever experience, though are certainly possible, I think such situations would be bound to the same ethical principles as any other situation that we might encounter, and indeed any other more commonplace situation. To dissuade this argument of the lifeboat ethics, as you call it in your video, with the notion that if we look at ethics only in terms of emergency, then it would not necessarily apply to matters of commonplace. We could also make the same argument to say that if ethics deal with commonplace issues, then it might not necessarily apply to matters of emergency. I see this growing trend of making objective morality dependent and determined by physical situations. That's a very dangerous idea. It's a very dangerous idea, I feel. That's why I brought this up. I applaud the effort to dissuade this argument, because I do believe it is made in an effort to catch the person in killing someone in the end. You know, in the lifeboat example, someone's gotta die, right? And as soon as we see that you knowingly kill someone, then of course the very basic ideas of ethics, of course that being murder, are brought to light. But I think you will find that with any of these lifeboat examples, you can reduce it, and you say this in your video, you can reduce it into terms and into different syllogisms using different terms of ethics that all parties can agree on, and indeed arrive at the best conclusion. Now, whether or not we are able to do that in the situation, say that you or I are in the speeding train, or are in the lifeboat, or in the crashing plane with only 2 parachutes and 3 of us to jump out, or any like situation, our ability to come to an ethical decision or a rational decision may very well be compromised. But I think you'll agree that that's irrelevant to the matter at hand, which is whether or not principles of ethics would apply to those situations exactly the same way as they would apply to matters of commonplace. I believe they will. Otherwise, we're not talking about ethics. Ethics ought to be universal principles if principles of ethics exist at all. I believe they do exist, and from what I gather from your videos, I believe you do as well. So I'm with you on that. But to dissuade this argument, I think, would be far better to look at all these extreme examples, reduce them to their finest terms, and see what the syllogism says, rather than teasing apart situations and saying that ethics may or may not apply, or apply differently in some way to different circumstances. That is an idea that I truly do have to disagree with for the reasons I've outlined. Thanks.